Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another week of BlastCast. Once again, with me is my bastion of common sense, Lightning Dragon. This week, of course, last week, 2.4 went live. They did pull that rabbit out of their hat, and I am very happy with that. I really wasn't sure towards the end of it that they would be able to pull it off. There's still some networking issues. In fact, it was down yesterday morning, where basically people were not being able to connect very long. They were getting disconnected, or they couldn't swap loadouts, things like that. But they said basically that a lot of times you can't see the full extent of some bugs until you get into a much larger environment, and that's totally cool. I get that. But,
very first day we were playing, we all were getting disconnects, but when we played, like, what was it, the next day, or was it the following day after that?
It was the next day.
Yeah, so when we played the next day, we didn't have any disconnect problems or anything, and my computer besides only running at 30 FPS, which I think part of the problem is the video settings, because I'm just running on standard piece of shit settings. I don't have motion blur turned off or anything. It just laughs. It's just like, yeah, fuck you, whatever, 30 FPS, big deal.
Yeah, and a lot of the FPS loss, a lot of times we're dealing with is with network code. Right now it's like, I think from what it sounded like, Lightning was talking to me the other day about how Neverwinter 1 had a problem with its net code. Basically, it had this kind of this heartbeat signal that's sent out from all the players. And instead of being just sending out the data from around where you currently were, it sent the data for the entire server. And so the more people and the more things that were on there, basically the more data that had to be sent. And eventually it just bogged the whole thing down. And I think that CIG is experiencing something very similar. And when they finally get it nailed down, that basically it's just gonna certain areas around your character are the only thing that concerns it, and it's not receiving all that data from the entire game area. You should probably see a lot of better performance, but that's gonna take a little bit of time to develop. I know what you said. Didn't you say that World of Tanks did something similar, and then they had like the heartbeat kind of style?
Yeah, World of Tanks, theirs wasn't as extreme. It was still a certain time delay, but what they did is they went and they refined it, and they had different distances. So every time, every like 3 seconds, your tank makes like a spot check within 100 meters around you, and then like every 6 seconds it makes a check every like 400 meters around you. And obviously, if your tank can see that far, but basically the farther out it goes, the less time it does a scan saying, "Can I see anybody here?" And so it reduces lag time, and overall it made the game run better. It's one of those things that you as a player may not notice the difference, but I'm assuming they did it because the servers noticed a huge difference. So it increased like not really FPS, but definitely like smooth gameplay, like a connecting to whatever the server issue would be.
Yeah, and well, I mean, when you're dealing with things with physics calculations as well, when you're basically transmitting the data of all those physics calculations of all those parts and debris and things like that, that could really
Base engineers.
Yeah, well, when you're doing that across like Star Citizen, that could really chug the game down. So it's been a pretty interesting week. We have a video we put out yesterday, and part 2 is coming out tomorrow after you see this video, and basically where we went out for the first time in 2.4 together in co-op. And bugs aside, we had a lot of fun. In fact,
yeah, I lost all my footage for that too. Shadowplay was recording on my SSD, and I'm like, oh shit, I better change that. But when I went to look for the file where it recorded things, I couldn't find it. It like deleted the folder for whatever reason.
No worries. Weird. I got enough. It would have been nice to incorporate, but we'll deal with that. But yeah, we took the Starfarer out for combat and mischievous adventures, and don't tell them how we get back to Port Olisar. That's the big surprise.
It's the best surprise ending.
Yes, exactly. Well, actually, the best surprise ending is you being on the tarmac. We'll get that. Leave that for later too.
Right. Yeah, the very end.
very end.
It's a ridiculously awesome part where I went to the door, though. Did you? You recorded after that?
I did after that because, well, I mean, there was no point in watching you trying to do that. But anyway,
I'm the best at going through doorways.
you're the master. Somehow you can manage to squeeze through about anything. So, of course, 10 for the producers came out today, and actually it was 10 for the developers. Episode 14.
10 for whoever.
10 for somebody, and they brought up something as the second question that I thought was
And he won't
excellent.
tell me because
Well,
I haven't watched that program in like a year
well,
because
that's your
it's just like the
punishment.
same questions.
That's your
So
punishment.
I had to learn it
Well,
live.
they asked about the Hornet, and they said, are you since obviously the Squadron 42 is coming out, you're gonna have that revamped Hornet, and you said, yeah, they said it looks really great, and it's like very close to being taken care of. But what came out of that was that they said also that the Auroras and the 300 series are basically being redone too. But here's where it gets interesting. They're not just modifying the current models. They're making new models, and then they're talking about possibly keeping those old ones as yesteryear models in the game.
Oh, you mean that thing I've been saying forever, where
I-
they don't have to re-release a new Hornet? They can just say, "This is the F7 Hornet A," and now
yes.
we're releasing the B at
Yeah.
no price to the backers.
Well, they have like the year on it. Like this is the 2944 or something like that.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
just change the year, add a number or add a letter, and boom, you're done. There is an in-lore reason to change the way the ships look.
Right.
It's not that hard, guys.
Well, yeah, but there's like I heard that I'm like, oh, Lightning's going to hear that because I thought like they got all these really old models, like they got the old Freelancers, and they've got
Oh, just imagine the original trailer of the
yeah,
Hornet, the green and gray Hornet when they were doing the Bagel Carrier.
oh yeah,
What was it? It was I forget what they call their stupid videos.
oh yeah, I know what you're saying, but you got all those commercials like with the old
Yeah,
ships, like you have the Hornet and
commercials.
whatnot, and so you could like say, hey, this guy in the Freelancer commercial, right? He's flying a 20-year-old design of the Freelancer or something like that, and you can keep that old model in the game, and to me, there's a lot of potential assets there to use, and it feels like a bit of a waste. To not use them because as development has gotten better, then so have the ship designs, and it's kind of like you go back. Yes, we love a lot of us love classic cars, but when you look at a lot of the new
I
stuff, there's
used to own a couple.
yeah, but when you look at a lot of the new stuff, I mean, it'd be like looking at like a very old Mustang versus a very new Mustang, and
Oh boy, you might be talking sacrilege here.
I'm just talking about I'm just talking about physical shape because everything under the. So basically, you can clearly tell the difference, between the two, and so there's no reason not to just incorporate those. And I think that's a great decision. If they go that route, I'm very much for it, and would like to see
There's
them.
another thing that they can think about. They can spin this as well, and have the in-game prices, not backer prices, but in-game prices of the earlier versions of the Hornet and the Freelancer and stuff be discounted if they didn't get rid of them. It's like, oh well, if you want blah 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 year version ship, you get it. It's got miles on it. The parts are worn. It's one of the older models, but you can get it for a lot cheaper. And that's something they could spin into the lore because if they don't get rid of the model assets and just tuck them out the door, they can repurpose them for those air quotes used ships they talked about. Like if you don't have any insurance, they'll sell you like a used ship, and you get like a loan for it. You pay back the loan, and then you can either fix the ship up, or if you have enough money, you can buy a brand new ship.
Well, one of the big problems they were having with the older ships is the fact that, those three series I was talking about, is that they need to incorporate the new damage model into
That's
them,
true.
and the old ones don't have it. And so like ships like the Gladius when it was being developed were being put together with a new damage model. So instead of going back and trying to retool it, they're just rebuilding it and they're making another version. So to me, I mean, to some degree, it seems like what you're going to see, and this is just based on that thought, because they want players to experience a full damage model. So you might see NPCs flying those older models where players can only buy the newer model. That's what I'm guessing because they don't want to retool all that damage engine. And so most likely, you may be getting attacked by pirates flying the old Hornet and or whatnot, or the old Auroras.
Destroy it with fire.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a reason right there. I mean, you'll hunt pirates just to kill Hornets.
Oh yeah, if there's a pirate faction that only flies old Hornets, they'll be my bread and butter. I'm gonna go fly over to this sector. Oh yeah, that one pirate place is over there, isn't it? Yes, must destroy all old Hornets.
Now, from what I'm hearing, the new Hornet is supposed to be very, very, very excellent looking. So we will see. It's they say it's up to standards.
F-22 Raptor. That's what I hope.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what comes of it, but maybe you won't hate it as much anymore. So
I have no problem with the Hornet overall. It's just
I know
it's
how it's built.
very yes, it's just very basic, and I hate to use the word crude because it's the texture quality and all that is good. It's just not well planned, you know?
No, no, and yeah, and I think everyone listening to shows knows your perspective on it. And my perspective, it's like three different parts bolted together. So
Oh
the
yeah.
thing is that what's great about this guy, aside from the ship thing, having persistence in the game is really going to open up a lot of great things down the road. And I think that we're going to see patch 2.5 really incorporating a lot of the stuff that they were originally planning on incorporating in like 2.5, 2.6, and maybe even some of 2.7 because it's been delayed so long. We'll have to see. I'd imagine the invites for Evo Cadi had to be going out within a couple weeks or so, or maybe even less. And I mean, they got to be ready to jump onto the next big thing because what they've been doing in this meantime has mostly been trying to get that persistence up and running. And there's other developers working on other things. It's not like the entire team stopped what they were doing and just to
Yeah,
jump on
there's
the
all the
persistence.
Squadron 42 stuff that's probably still chugging away, regardless of the PU stuff that we're
Yeah,
testing.
I think what
They want to keep a lot of that stuff under wraps.
I think Rob Irving once said back when he worked for CIG, he said, a lot of people think if you throw more programmers at something, it makes it go faster. It's like, well,
That is
I say,
not the case.
and he said, it's like having one pregnant woman, having nine pregnant women does not give you a baby in a month. So, so it's one of those things that, um, yeah, it kind of makes sense, so that basically they're only gonna have a certain amount of people working on the networking issues because that's all they have that work on networking issues. So anyway, we'll see what comes of that. And of course, there was a big blow up to a degree in general chat because the terms of service in 2.4 changed. And
Oh
terms of,
no.
and people always, the sky is falling because they changed the TOS. Lightning and I can attest to you every time a version of something like Armor Warfare comes out or something, there's another
Oh
TOS you
yeah.
got to. Every time there's a new version, every time you got to log into Blade and Soul, you got to click their TOS. It's just games nowadays have TOSs, and the TOSs are always changing, and it's not the end of the world. So, a lot of times people want to go ahead
As
and
long as
panic.
you're not stealing assets and trying to sell Star Citizen as your own product, that's pretty much all the terms of service is there. Don't steal our game, don't try and sell our game. That's the most basic thing. It's in lawyer speak, so it's a couple pages of don't steal the game.
Yeah, or other things that involve relate to the game, maybe like don't cheat or whatever.
Yeah.
But the point is that they're or nature of who owns the assets or all these different things, and that's fine. And that's one of those things that I feel that people, and I understand it's a vocal minority on the forums, and that's a minority within a minority that freak out about those kind of things. But don't worry about it; it's not a big deal. Look at the man. Look at what he's made in the past. He's got games from all the way back when I had playing it on a 386, playing Wing Commander, that are still talked about in 2016. Okay, he's got a long string of fantastic games, legendary games, well thought of, well
As long as
received.
the stupid FPS guys that he's hired don't, build the game the way they want,
Well, I
we're
think
gonna get a
he's.
good game.
I think when he finally gets done, basically getting Squadron 42's parts together, and he gets to the control, and he starts looking at his own game. Remember, a lot of his brother too uh, did a lot of the is a big factor uh, in his game development. I think they're gonna, when they come together and actually sit down and look at the gameplay, because Chris Roberts is a HOTAS joystick kind of guy, and he likes his games to feel a certain way. He's said several times, think World War II in space. Now, I'm not saying I want it to fly like an atmospheric World War II, but that does indicate a maneuvering centric kind of flight model. And so, because of that, I think when he sits down and he gets his hands on it, realize that we're basically, for the most part, when we're dogfighting, we're strafing and facing face to face almost the entire time. He's going to look at that and go, "Oh, we need to do something here," and that's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, but I think so every development cycle has different. Every developer has different ways that they approach the development cycle, and I think Chris right now is wrapped up on the cinematic side. He's wrapped up on getting the pieces together. He wants these
Story.
story, the motion capture, all that stuff, and then for him, uh, then he's probably wants to get all those pieces together, and then he's going to go back and look at the other stuff. And I get it. I mean, that's his style. I don't. He's probably how he did it in all the wing commanders too. He got what he wanted to set up the way he wanted it to, and then went in and tweaked it up afterwards. So we're just going to have to be patient. And I do have a lot of I'm really happy to have the persistence in it. I mean, I love the fact that I have one big hangar room. It's empty. I just display exactly what ships I want to display. I can take them away. I can say, "Hey, I want to look at this ship." Boom, there it is. To me, that's a more efficient hangar. I love it. I absolutely love it. Some people don't like it, but I love it. And I'm glad to see that, I can log in the next day and whatever money I've earned or whatever is there. I love the fact that missiles cost money. You have to refuel things. Repairs right now, while simplistic, have a cost. Later on, they said that they want to change that, obviously, model to like you choose what parts you want to repair. You choose how much you're going to spend, those kind of things. But, the fact that it's there, to me, it's so encouraging to see one half of the MMO equation. And the next part they want to do, and I think they said for 2.5, is selling. So with selling, we might actually get cargo runs, trade
That'll be
runs,
awesome.
pirate raids or whatever. I mean, whatever's going to happen. And they talk about having a pirate base, so people can go and be their inner pirate, and then we can start having like wars inside the system, things like that. So more to come, guys. Just be patient. We're on the very edge of what I feel is going to make Star Citizen actually a game and move it out of alpha into beta. So, I feel beta probably by the end of the year, I would guess. Well, I think to get to beta, we need to at least have a second system, so
Yeah, definitely.
so we can at least test the ability to jump between systems and some exploration mechanics and things like that. But I
Even
think,
if it was just, like one planet with like a moon or something that
yeah,
and you could jump between them, then I think be like, okay, well now you have pretty much every mechanic. And if they add, cargo runs and stuff, I mean, besides that, you have like the little nitty-gritty details like, mining and salvaging and scanning. But I mean, those are kind of like last minute things.
mhm.
Like a lot of the biggest stuff you want to do, like cargo is a huge part of the game. There are like probably more cargo ships than there are fighters in the game. There
Oh
are
yeah.
so many cargo ships.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So that's something I think that's all of it starts right here with persistence. Because if the game can't remember what you're carrying, what's the
Yeah,
point?
that's
So
a pretty important thing.
anyway, guys, have fun with it this week. Play with it. Yes, there's bugs. Report them. That's what we're here for. This is your opportunity to make a mark on the game. This is your opportunity to help them make it as good as it can possibly be. Just don't have a crash or some bug and throw your hands in the air and go, "Oh, I'm done with it." No, report it. Talk about it. Have fun with it. That's what this video is about. The one I had yesterday and the one that's coming out tomorrow. Because we could you could go into it like, oh my gosh, these bugs, I hate them, I hate them, I hate them. Or you could just have fun with it. Just you realize you're part of the development process. Just get in there, be part of the team, and we're going to make this game as good as it can possibly be. And if there's something that you're not happy with the direction it's going, talk about it in the forums. Persuade people. Use your words.
Your
Basically,
words.
and listen to what people say too. Understand, listen to their arguments, and try to basically come to a compromise. If you look at like the Arena Commander forum, I mean, 2 years ago, man, we were pretty much all calling each other practically stupid names like poo poo head practically, which was the most immature arguing. And now 2 years later, man, most of the arguments that like when I was standing against a lot of things going on, it seems like most of the people are on my side now. I mean, I don't even really post there very much anymore because I feel like everyone's arguing the points I made 2 years ago. So what's the point for me fighting anymore? I mean, I'm glad, but there's for me it's like okay, well, these guys have picked up the torch and they're running with it. So, but you have to if there's something you believe in or something you think needs to be done better.
Just make sure you construct it in a way
Exactly,
that doesn't seem argumentative, because
exactly.
then you're just inviting people to come in there and troll you,
Well, it's the
and
internet.
well, it's the internet, but give them the least amount of ammunition possible,
Yeah,
and don't give in to like, oh, you're stupid and everything you say is stupid, because they're not adding anything to the argument. They're just looking to pick a fight.
and
But
and
in other news,
hmm,
I have a computer that works,
he does.
and I have Dark Souls 2. So if you want to see me suck at Dark Souls 2, you can check it out on my channel. I don't know how much I'm going to be recording. It depends because, YouTube and copyright stuff.
Link
And
to
I
his
was going to
channel
do,
is down below in my description, so you can find it
yeah,
there.
I was going to do Dragon Age position because it's like I'm only gonna play this if I record it, but it's like that's copyrighted by this other YouTube channel. It's like bullshit. You don't own a game. I mean, I got it to go away, but
And
it's
I have a
stupid
new video.
YouTube.
I have a new video recording program as well. Hopefully, it'll do a little less desync on the audio towards the ends. So we're gonna test all this stuff out. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna see what happens.
Lots of new stuff.
Lots of new stuff. Where I'm always upgrading my hardware and my software. So we'll see if I keep making better and better videos. But anyway, guys, that's all this week. And once again, get out there, get testing, help Star Citizen be everything it can be. And we'll catch you next time.
Bye, everybody. Missiles. The front shields are down.
What? I just lock all 9 of my missiles out. Oh, this is happening. This is happening.
Oh no.
This is happening. Suck missiles. Oh my gosh.
What's going on?
I don't know. I just fired everything in the universe at him. This is, yeah.